So I still have to record like 50 lines for these bugs at the time of making this intro, and I don't really know how to start the video. So let's just hurry up and get into the bugs. Morty's jab and side air both have like no whiff and are super speed whenever you hit grenades. If you hit the stereos on Cromulon or like any destructible geometry, it also makes your attacks have no whiff and go super speed. This extends to every character in the game. So for example, Batman's dash attack will be super speed and have no whiff when they hit grenades. On some map geometry, the dirt will just get completely stuck on like the corners of the ledge. Oh, my dirt got stuck on the... Oh, she doesn't have any... Oh, my dirt got stuck again. And I died. On Townsville, dirt can get stuck and go in reverse. Dirt makes the hit sound effect when you hit enemy Morty grenades, but you can't steal them like in the beta, and also it just doesn't move them. Like at the very least, I feel like you should knock them up into the air. Dirt can randomly just like flip directions even though you don't want it to when you try and use it on the UFO. Dirt can randomly just like cancel its hit stun or just like have barely any hit stun when you hit people. Trust me, this isn't move scaling. This happens randomly. Here you can see Joker get out of hit stun like really early. If you up air someone as they bounce on a platform, it phases right through them, even though the fire is active longer than the invincibility frames from the bounce. Dirt can break pretty much any projectile or setup move in the game, and despite that, it can't break Gizmo's popcorn for some reason, which it could in the beta. Both teammate and enemy Aria knives will hit a grenade and then just get stuck and float in the air until they despawn. Both Snake Shot and grenades will despawn if you use them right up against a wall. This includes offstage. Up air doesn't actually match the visuals for its hitbox. Even if the flames are out for the very beginning of the move, it actually doesn't do any damage until way later. Up air can just like randomly send sideways at high percents. I'm pretty sure this one's patched, but I've had someone tell me otherwise, so I'm putting it in here anyway. What? If Velma's van captures Morty while he's performing dirt, he can still control dirt and move it around, but he won't actually be able to use it. It's just visual. And if he dies in this state, there's no ring out effect. Up tilt snakes slowly fall, so they just kind of like break on like the floor and platforms when they're not supposed to, and they never go their full length, which really sucks for the move. This was buffed, but like it still just despawns on practically nothing. Can this be fixed, please? This is probably a universal knockback bug, but sometimes when you hit someone with a snake as they walk off a platform, they'll just go nowhere and bounce on the platform, and it happens really often. Alright, slight overreaction in this next clip, but Superman can grab Morty through UFO and then shuck him from a mile away.
Get the fuck
I hate this game. I fucking hate this game.
Snakes occasionally will send it just like really bizarre angles and directions. If Morty lands the first part of side air 1 on certain frames as another move makes contact with him, he'll just get like stunned midair and then fall to the ground and bounce. This is a universal bug, but it happens with Morty Sair 1 very often, and I don't know why. This glitch is like kind of hilarious, but sometimes when you use Plumbus on the ledge, you can just grind people up and they get stun locked for like a really long time. You can actually kill people off this if they're not ready for it. Sometimes when you use Plumbus while someone else is swinging, it'll just like touch them and not actually hit them until the animation makes them go back into idle. I can't tell if this is a bug or if the move is just glitchy and has a really tiny hitbox. Right, Buzzsaw has 3 different effects whenever it hits a Morty grenade. Here's the Buzzsaw hitting the grenade and then bouncing off it like it's supposed to. Here's the Buzzsaw hitting the grenade and making a hit noise and activating the hitbox but not moving it. Here's the Buzzsaw hitting a grenade and doing absolutely nothing. Gizmo notes surround grenades and make them active, but don't move them at all, which is normal. For some reason, if you split the grenade, it goes flying. This one's probably not a bug, it's probably just a weird interaction, but I thought it was worth mentioning. This happens inside Velma's speech bubble too. Morty says a voice line after every single whip.
Eric! How do you like them sandwiches? What does zoinks mean anyway? Power move! I'm feeling a lot of feelings right now. I hope I remember all the buttons.
Smaller characters fall out of Morty's jab constantly by just holding away. And on ledge, pretty much everyone in the cast can fall out of his jab. Two separate patches buffed this move, by the way. Morty's jab is a hurt box, which isn't a bug, but causes some weird interactions. What is a bug, though, or is just an oversight, is that Morty's arm is a hurt box before the hitbox is active. This causes it to lose to moves that aren't even facing you, even if the arm's inside them for like a frame or two. In this clip, my arm is inside Shaggy, but I lose the interaction and my move doesn't hit him. In this clip, my jab's hurt box is caught for a single frame and it's still not an active attacking move. On a couple of maps, snakes can both go the same direction instead of spreading apart evenly. Morty randomly clips through his UFO, which has been a bug since he came out like 2 years ago in the beta. When Morty crouches on his UFO, the center like mesh like melds with him and he clips right through it. If you look closely towards the top of the map, his head actually disappears. Bugs can tunnel onto Morty's UFO despite, you know, it being a tunnel, and he can teleport midair. If the UFO despawns while he's still traveling through the tunnel, it'll just kick him out in the middle of it. If you shoot at your own grenade and the light laser hits a teammate's grenade on its way over, it'll just blow it up and then freeze and just stay in the air. Sometimes grenades will just have like incredibly low knockback.
Mud wall.
You may have not caught it, but there was actually a second bug in that video. The first time he hits grenade with a side air, it doesn't gain an active hitbox, and then the second time it does gain a hitbox. But randomly, grenades don't get hitboxes when you hit them. If rewind is active and you get hit, sometimes it'll just cancel your rewind and poop the grenade out wherever you are. This one's probably just a Jake bug, but I could only get it to work on Morty's light lasers. Sometimes when you hit Jake's house with a light laser, it'll reflect it, and sometimes when you hit it, it just despawns. It's super inconsistent. If someone reflects a grenade as it blows up, the grenade explodes, does no damage to enemies, and the light laser that was reflected just kind of floats there. The laser will even continue traveling and despawn your grenade if it's reflected as it goes to the grenade. Light lasers can just mess up pathfinding and just freeze mid-air confused randomly. Normally all projectiles despawn grenades, including Morty's light lasers. But if the grenades are active and stolen, you can't break them with a light laser for some reason. Whenever Marvin bubbles an enemy grenade, there's like a 50-50 chance the grenade will be an active hitbox or just not. Sometimes when you Sair a grenade, like as it hits the floor, it'll just completely despawn, or it'll get stuck in the ground and then like ricochet a million times and then despawn. Beetlejuice's down specials both hit enemies and send them up, but if it hits a grenade, it does absolutely nothing. If you pause the game in the lab, the cook timer of grenades will freeze, but not visually, which makes them misalign with the timing and the sound effect. Some characters can even freeze the cook timer, but not visually, which also makes them misalign, and it'll even make the sound effects as if they're gonna blow up whenever they don't. If you listen closely, you can actually hear the grenade still ticking down inside of Taz's stomach. Black Adam's neutral special will despawn grenades with a delay for some reason in a normal match. But in the lab, no matter how many times I try, it won't despawn the grenade. Here's some old clips showing that Morty's down air used to have a bug where it would clip right through people's bodies. The air got buffed to not do this in the most recent patch, and yet it still clips through people's heads. The shocked electric hand buff that can be gained through different moves makes it so you can despawn grenades with any melee attack. Now you may be saying, well, how do we know that's not intentional? And that's what I thought at first. Then I found out teammates can despawn them too. Finn's air side special can lock onto dirt even though it's still in the ground and hasn't even come out yet. Bear with me for a little bit on this one. Marvin's neutral special button says it only works on projectiles. And it does work on Morty's dirt. But I think this is a bug, and I will explain why. So Marvin's button and its perk think that Morty's dirt is a projectile. And Finn's side special locks onto projectiles, and it works on dirt. So you may think, well, that means dirt is a projectile. But if that's the case, then how come dirt hits Batman through his smoke, which is supposed to protect him against projectiles? And also, how come dirt doesn't proc the ignite effect from the perk, which says it only affects projectiles? So I have evidence to show that dirt is a projectile and that dirt isn't a projectile. I feel like a crazy person here. Like, none of this actually makes any sense at all to me, so I'm just gonna chalk all of that up to one big bug and not even think about it anymore. I don't even know if this is a bug or not. I'm just trying to show everything I can that I think is weird at this point. Steven's Nair breaks projectiles, but it doesn't break grenades. But it does break the light laser on its way to a grenade. Now, this has to be a bug because Steven Nair breaks all other projectiles like Marvin's bubble, but not grenades? So, let's get this straight. All projectiles, including idle ones like Gizmo Music Notes, despawn grenades. Reflectors steal grenades. Black Adam's bubble despawns them. Black Adam's lightning despawns them with a delay. Walls despawn them. You despawn them. Teammates can despawn them. They can despawn when they're just sitting there. But you mean to tell me that Steven's Nair, which breaks projectiles, can't despawn grenades? I can't tell what's intentional or not anymore, so we're just gonna move on. Despite having the save effect around your teammate, sometimes rewind will be active and just not save your teammate, and this happens constantly. You can see in this freeze frame that Banana Guard clearly has the dotted lines around him, and he just doesn't get saved anyway. This one is still technically in the game and hasn't been patched out in the actual patch notes, but it's impossible to recreate since teching is now in the game. Basically, anytime you hit someone with a snake shot at the same time they ground bounce, it combines the knockback and hit stun instead of bouncing them twice. So you lose your combo, but teching already kind of makes you lose your combo, so it's like the same thing at this point. It's a mute point. Anyway, yeah, this one counts, I don't care. The final bug is that when you're wearing the President Morty skin and you come back into the menu, your torso will just be invisible. And with that, we're done with 51 bugs. Give or take, a couple of them are like the same bug, and then also a couple of them are probably intentional, but also maybe not. It's really hard to tell with this game. I just laid everything out on the field so that you can just like judge for yourself at this point. There are 2 bugs I didn't get footage for, and they're both rewind related, but I'm too lazy to get footage for them. The first one is that sometimes when you respawn, if you spam the button for rewind, it'll make the sound effect, but it just won't come out. And then the second bug is that sometimes if you rewind your teammate, you can grenade pass the floating grenade to the save point itself, and then your teammate respawns and the grenade teleports to them. I promise these 2 bugs are real, I just do not have the time to actually get the footage and like try. I hope my explanation for those last 2 bugs makes sense. If not, then sorry, I guess. I don't really play much 2s, and I haven't played much of the game at all since teching kind of ruined all of Morty's combos and like setups, so I didn't get the footage for those 2 bugs. I'll be sure to write down an explanation for every single bug in the comments or like the description or something with timestamps, so that if any developers watching this and they need to like go back, they can use it. If you came this far, thank you, and this is the end of the bug section, but since I may have the attention of developers finally, I would really like to give a couple of fixes for this character balance-wise, and if you are a dev watching this, please hear me out. First of all, I'd like to briefly talk about grenades. While they are super buggy and easy to get rid of, for some reason they kill at very low percents if they don't bounce into the floor, and I've been saying it for 2 months now, but these should have lower knockback. So please just like lower the knockback by 10 or 15% or so. And then another potential nerf we could do is maybe make them do less damage, since if they have ignite, they can do up to 18% if everything connects, which is a little absurd. I think maybe making the explosion do 7% instead of 10% would help a lot. Another thing that Morty desperately needs nerfed is Dirt having weaken. There's like zero reason it should have weaken still. It causes people to die ridiculously early, and it's just not fun to play against. So just get rid of weaken completely on that move. And as compensation, you could even revert the delay you added to it. That way you could do this really cool tech. Basically, what you used to be able to do is use Dirt mid-air on the UFO to reversal people, and I'd love to see this return. It added a lot of skill expression to the character, and it wasn't that spammable since UFO keeps going up. The easy way to deal with this would be to jump over Dirt and just smack Morty since he's stuck in the end lag. Some minor nerfs I want to talk about is that Sair 1 can landing cancel, which is a little broken and could be spammed. I don't think it's healthy, and I think it should be removed. And then the other thing that I think should be nerfed, which may be a little controversial, is that I don't think rewind should save teammates. It makes the move very, very jarring because in 2s, it's a very, very oppressive move that feels like you're cheating someone out of a kill. And then in 1s, it's like a 50-second cooldown to do basically nothing. Which means that in 1s, the move is just useless. For 90% of the match, just like UFO, you have a button that doesn't actually do anything. When moving over from the beta, this move lost its hitbox, which sucks because it means that if you're on your way back to the save point, an enemy gets a free hit on you, which is kind of just bad game design. And then it also means you can't make traps anymore, which was like my favorite part of this character. In the beta, using rewind twice in one spot would make a grenade go up into the air and then slowly fall like a trap, which added to his set play and made his edge guarding really cool and unique, and that's just kind of gone now, and I wish it would return. So basically just nerf Rewind's ability to save, and then make it so he can make traps again. Next thing I want to talk about is Wine Portal. When moving over from the beta, this move basically got butchered. In 1s, it literally doesn't work anymore, which means it's the only move in the entire game to be tied to a cooldown and just do completely nothing. Just nothing in 1s. And then in 2s, it barely boosts your teammates' projectiles like speed. And even then, it doesn't even have the red Q effect it did, like it did it in beta. So you don't know if it's actually being boosted, which is weird. I just wish this move actually did something. Finally, I want to talk about Jab. Like I mentioned before, Jab's a hurt box before it's a hitbox, so making Jab invincible, so it's like an actual disjoint at the very, very beginning of the move, will fix this. You don't have to make it invincible the whole way through, that'd be broken. Just make it invincible for the first couple frames, that way I'm not being punished for trying to punish another person when I use my Jab. I mean, I don't really have that many poking tools on ground level other than like Plumbus, which isn't good, and Up Tilt, which isn't good. So Jab is my only get-in option on ground level if I don't have my blaster. I tried not to ramble at the end here, and I still have a lot of changes I want to see, and there's still a lot of glaring issues just like in Morty's kit, but I don't want this video to be any longer, so I'm just going to wrap it up here. If you're a dev, please watch my teching video so I can explain why I think teching needs changes too, but other than that, goodbye I guess.